Hey guys, what's going on? Justin Fuller here with TrueSpot, and today I want to go over the 5 tips and tricks you can use to maximize your profits in your recon process. So tip number 1 is going to be kind of a basic 101 tip, right? So the first thing you need to do is just define what your process is. So if you're not 100% sure what your process is, I would highly recommend that you pull a pen and a piece of paper out and just write it out. Really get an understanding for what your process is. Because you can't begin to improve on a process until you really know what it is, right? There's an old saying that measuring is part of managing. And when it comes to a process like this, that really is true, right? So the tip number 2 is going to be remove as many human hands as you can from your process. Now I know that sounds a little bit weird, but it really is true. 80% of loss and error is made by humans when it comes to a dealership. So the more hands I can take out of this process and limit to just a few, the better overall my process will be. So when it comes to that, I would highly recommend that you automate this process because that's going to remove a lot of errors, right? So removing those hands is gonna, eliminate some of those errors, but it's gonna create more visibility too, right? The less people are touching it, now I can really start to see my process and see who's accountable for what so that I can start tracking it, right? So accountability plays a role in this as far as removing those human hands, right? Now, tip number 3 is gonna be, making your inventory fresh and available, right? You need to make it visible and quick. There is nothing worse than having your process being held up because your guys busted their butt, they got the car through, they're pushing it through this process, and it's getting held up by photography. Now, whether that's in-house or maybe you have a third party that does it, I don't know. But if you can make it easier on this photographer, they can find the cars quicker, they can get these photos to you quicker, you can get those pictures up quicker, you're shortening this process, the cars are on the lot less time, and now you're cutting down on those holding costs, right? So you want to do everything you can to make those cars visible. In doing so, you want to help the photographer do this, right? Now, tip number 4 is going to be that you need to establish some sort of benchmark. But much like the process, you can't really establish a benchmark until you know what exactly you're doing, right? So you really need to start automating your process so you can track a car when it comes in off a truck, starts into this process, goes from step to step, whether it be, from my bay, then it lands to paintless dent removal, then it goes to tint, to glass, to make ready, maybe it gets a guy who looks at the rims, and then maybe it lands out on the lot, right? Hits the photography and lands on the lot. So you really need to establish what a benchmark is. So once you understand your process, you know what it is, you've removed a lot of these human errors, now you can really start to say, this is on average how long it takes from a car to come off the truck to land on the lot to go up for sale, right? The minute you can start to understand what that is, now you can start looking at, hey, where is my weakest link? Where can I help improve things? How can I look at a dashboard maybe to see where are things bottlenecking? What's the holdup, right? So that's what you need is you need to establish that benchmark so that you can focus on getting better, right? Now, the 5th tip or trick I would recommend is that you need to choose some sort of location-based software, right? You need something that is gonna track your vehicles as they move through this process, and ideally you want it to be automated because that'll establish more accountability. If you're tagging a car the minute it comes off a truck, and then as it moves through each step, it's checking itself in and checking itself out so that there's that accountability of, well, the car was in this bay for this amount of time, then in this section for this amount of time, then paint, whoever it is, you can really start to account for, hey, what's the holdup? Where are the bottlenecks? Who is taking too long? Who is the weakest link? Maybe they need help. How can I help them, right? You can really find the breakdowns in your process. So I would strongly suggest you find something that's automated to remove that human error, to focus on that accountability so that you can move forward. And tracking your cars through this process is gonna be a key role. Now, lastly, you wanna really be able to get some sort of metrics and reporting out of this, right? So if you're gonna get some sort of software, you really wanna not only be able to pull up real-time stuff and see, on your dashboard, hey, where is this car in the process? What's the holdup? Where's the bottlenecks? Let me view it right now. But also from month to month, you need to be able to track this so I can say, hey, last month, this is where we're at. This is where each car was. This is how long it takes to get through this process, through this step, through this step, through this step, so that I can compare to the previous month to know, hey, we have made improvements. However, we're having breakdowns here. We need to focus on this now, right? So that we can overall start really improving, I should say, these processes to help cut down on holding costs and to help maximize the profits that we can get out of this. So with all that said, I'm gonna remind you that I am, of course, 100% biased. I do work for TrueSpot. We do offer TrueRecon, which is a recon tool Our tool is automated, so it will check cars in and out as they move through that process because we do tag the cars. So you would have that available to you. As far as your photographer goes, they can absolutely be in the logins to be able to pull up an app, view where a car is anywhere on the lot, and be able to get to that car quicker, get pictures of it so that they can get those pictures over to you so that you can make those cars visible so we can cut down on holding costs and sell cars quicker. So you can do that, and then it'll help you establish a benchmark because you 100% are gonna get metrics. You're gonna be able to see everything on a dashboard in real time, and you're gonna get those reports each month so that you can compare and say, hey, where am I at this week? What am I struggling with? I know these guys got a bunch of cars in off a truck, we got a couple loads. Where are they struggling right now? So you can really push them and see, but on top of that, month to month, you'll be able to compare also. So TrueRecon offers all of those things. If you'd like to set up a demo, I'd be more than happy to help you out. I'll put the link below to set up a demo with me. I'll also put it in the, I'll put it in the description and in the comments. And then secondarily, feel free to give me a call, a text, an email, it doesn't matter. Even if you don't want to do a demo, you just have some questions and want to understand better, I'd be more than happy to speak with you. Other than that, this is Justin Fuller, Regional Sales with TrueSpot. Good talking to you guys, later.